Hello everyone, this is TheMagiBum here, and I'm going to be bringing you another StarCraft 2 tutorial, and this is going to be more of a forward fast expand in how to defend rushes, how to get the most out of your cannons and wall-ins and stuff like that, all that good stuff. And with me I have my guest yet again. Why don't you introduce yourself?
G'day guys, I'm Ted, and I'm playing with MagiBum as per usual. One of my biggest problems is getting a start against Zerg, trying to stop that rush coming in and putting me behind the 8-ball. So today we're going to investigate on how to combat that and then give us that start so we can have a natural going as well as our main, and then get that basic play happening so we can actually play the mid game and maybe get to the end game. Previous to this, that hasn't been happening. I've just been walked over by the Zerglings or a lot of the roaches, but today we're going to try something a little bit different and we're going to see how it's going to go. Alrighty.
Alright, so we'll play the replay in 3, 2, 1, play. Alright, so I'm assuming you got it on faster speed?
Yep.
Alright, so your build here is to do a forward fast expand, am I correct?
Exactly right. So pretty much what we're looking for is a 9 pylon start, and what I have been doing is blocking off my main at the ramp. However, that really has been stimming my natural access to my natural in doing so. So what I'm going to do now is actually drop the pylon at the bottom of the ramp on the natural. And as you can see now, my probe's going to do just that.
So just waiting for 100 minerals, and there goes the pylon.
Yep. So the first thing we're going to build, of course, naturally what you have to do after you build that pylon is go and scout. If you don't scout, then basically end of game. Doesn't really matter what you do, how good you are. If you're not scouting and you don't know how to react, thanks for coming.
So the question is, when you scout for something, what are you actually looking for?
Alrighty, so what I'm looking for from the Zerg point of perspective is whether it's got gas, whether it's got a spawning pool, whether it's got a roach warren happening. Of course, in the first instance of the game, all you're really looking for is gas and the spawning pool. How many drones he's got. If he's got a 6th drone and dropping in the spawning pool, you know you're going to get a fast rush. If he's got gas going, then it could be pretty much a lot of Zerglings with roach happening behind it. Looking for Zergling speed as well. So they're the type of things you're looking for initially. So if we just have a look at MagiBum's base, you notice that he's got a probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, he's got a heap of 15 odd drones happening with a spawning pool at the back.
Alright, do you want to pause it now?
Yep.
Alright, so it's about 2:32. That's what I've got it paused at.
I've got 2:30.
Alright,
Alrighty, so
just go up 2 seconds, I guess, and we'll continue. Okay, so at this point, what you've scouted is the spawning pool has come up the moment you walked into his base.
Mm-hmm.
So you know then and there that it's not going to be a fast expand, because if you're spending money on a spawning pool, that costs about 200 resources, and usually if you're spending 200 resources, you can't afford to get your second base up really fast. So immediately you should know that it's not going to be early aggression kind of thing, just because the spawning pool isn't really early, and it's not going to be what's called it's not going to be, oh jeez, I lost my train of thought. It's not going to be like a late game kind of thing where he's not going to attack you at all.
In essence, what MagiBum is saying is that because he's got more than 6 or 7 drones happening, he's basically going for a tech or an expansion at a later stage. So you know that you haven't got an immediate threat straight away. This gives you an opportunity now to come back, or me, to come back and then start to react to that particular scenario.
Yeah, so I'm seeing here that you've got a probe already positioned to build a nexus. So you're going for a pylon, into a forge, and into a nexus.
The nexus will pop up very shortly. That'll help me grab more minerals so I can start to populate the cannons around my forge once that's done. So if we hit play in 3, 2, 1, go, we can see that actually eventuate.
Yep. And another thing that you also scouted just now was what's called gas, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep, certainly. So that either means that you're going to get Zergling speed or start to build a roach warren, which could mean that you're going to get aggression soon after that.
Alright, so your Nexus is coming up, so you know that if there's any aggression, it's not coming now, but it will come later, isn't it? So you're safe to get your second base.
And now is the time that I'm just waiting for my mineral count to pop up, so I can start to build a couple of cannons to defend.
Alright, I noticed you got a gateway before your first cannon. Is there a reason behind this?
Gateway before my first cannon.
If you look at your wall, you've got your gateway on the way, but you haven't built a cannon behind it yet.
You're right, you're right. That's really to try and fast track my tech and get the tech rolling once I do. It also helps me to block off the ramp a bit easier because it takes up a double width in opposed to having just a single pylon or a cannon. But based on the information that I gleaned from my scout, I have a little bit of time to actually do that, hence the reason why that's happening. If I didn't have any time, if I saw a rush happening, there'd be cannons coming up straight away.
Yep, so like say if the spawning pool was already half done by the time you got to the Zerg's base, or if the spawning pool was done by the time you got to the Zerg's base, you'd be getting a cannon already, isn't it?
Exactly.
As opposed to getting a Nexus and a gateway first, yep.
Exactly right. So let's just pause the game in 3, 2, 1 for a second. I just want to touch on where we're at the moment. The fact that we're using 2 Nexuses now, hotkeying them to either whatever key sequence you like, you can start to pump out a lot of probes and mine effectively. The way you do that is you do Control 4, 5, whatever on the Nexuses, and then shift click the other Nexus and add that to the group. You would then just go that number, whatever it is, and press E a number of times, and then start pumping out the drones, and then putting a rally point to the second base, and therefore the drones will automatically go there, and that will then help you. Then you don't have to worry about that so much. You can just focus on the production building and also protection with the cannons. Alrighty, if we continue to play...
wait a second, before we play it again, I'm noticing that you built a whole bunch of cannons here. Is there a reason behind you building 3 cannons as opposed to just like a standard 1 that you might find?
Well, typically what I used to do in the past was build a single cannon, or maybe 2 cannons at best, and then also build a zealot. Now, what happens is, by that time that actually occurs, the Zerg player has managed to have 6 or 7 roaches and probably 7 or 8 Zerglings coming in. The problem there is it's alright to kill the initial. Let's assume there was a fast expand or a fast spawning pool happening, and a TheMagiBum sent out a number of roaches for me. 1 cannon would be sufficient to even just knock off 3 or 4 Zerglings. However, I know now that there's going to be some kind of higher tech aggression, and therefore I'm building 3, 4, 5 cannons to give me that bit of time so I can start to develop my tech.
Yeah, and I can see that you haven't spotted his second base, the Zerg second base. So that's usually a good tell that a Zerg is being aggressive. If a Zerg player stays on 1 base, it usually means that they are spending money on stuff that's not a second base. Because like a Zerg player on 1 base is like incredibly weak, but early game they can be really strong. Because if you look at the Teddyboy here, he only has a gateway in right now, and if there's no base here, it usually means that the Zerg player has either stronger tech, like say roaches, or he's got Zergling speed, and he's building a lot of units as opposed to drones. So
With this style of play at the moment, I'm finding reasonably successful to stop that rush, and that then allows you to try and get a robo out, so you can get an observer out to see what's going on, and that's something that you'll find that I didn't do in this game, but that's something that I should do to find out how to react to what's coming at me.
Yes,
alrighty, so we'll continue the game in 3, 2, 1, play.
Alright, so
so at this stage, you'll see that there's 4 or 5 cannons coming up. There's no real units per se, really focusing on economy, trying to get as many probes out, and you notice that there's no gas out either. Typically what happens when you're playing as Protoss, you'd normally get your gas out probably 12, 13 probes of supply. But at this stage, I'm focusing on just trying to give myself a little bit of breathing space, and then I'll start to work on my production and tech.
Yeah, I find that what's called the best time to get gas is usually as soon as you finish building a gateway, but like that also implies that like you're going for more tech. Whereas if you look here, okay, now some roaches are coming out, and if you want to be able to defend it, you need to have at least 3 or 4 cannons. Like I find that 4 cannons is like the perfect amount. If you have any more, then it's a bit overkill. But if it's a really extreme rush, like this one, which has like 5 roaches already, then having 5 cannons is adequate. And you got to remember that, like, even though you're not taking a gas later, even though you're building more cannons than you should, than you're normally used to at least, if you're denying this attack from happening, you're in a really good spot. Just because you have 2 bases, you can build more probes than your opponent, and what's called your tech is also higher just by the fact that they don't have either a lair or 3 bases already, which is what they would normally have at this point in time. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. So as you can see, like that first rush has failed, and you can see even more roaches coming in. But you notice that those 5 roaches managed to kill 1 cannon, but now there's like 4 cannons and a zealot. So like even if the second rush came by, it still wouldn't do as much. So it looks like that's not going to happen. All right, do you want to pause the game in 3, 2, 1, pause?
Okay.
All right. So at this point in time, you've taken 2 gas guises, and I notice you're getting your cybercore out now. Like this is the best well, I'm not sure if you can actually see cybercore. I can't see it, but I know you built it because it's like
it's on its way now.
Yeah.
Now you just notice that now I'm just starting to tech up. Also, one of the things I could have done was also drop a couple of sentries out, which would have impeded the roach rush as well. But the problem is once the 4 fields go out, I'd need probably at least 3 or 4 sentries to block it off for a period of time. With a couple of cannons would be quite effective, and maybe a couple of zealots out the front. But you find that this particular attack has given me that time to start to get into my gas and start to see what's coming at me. Now you'll notice that all that's coming at me at the moment is just a heap of roaches. So at this stage, I'm fairly sweet. It's just that because I didn't do the scouting that I should have done, is where I suffer a little bit later on the game.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about later on in the game. I think we just wanted to get the opening, what's called, shown to everyone, isn't it? Which is like
exactly right.
It's alright to build more cannons. Like you shouldn't do this if you know that they're not being aggressive. But that's the thing. It's all about knowing what the opponent is doing and responding to it. So you knew that the Zerg player only had 1 base. You knew that he had taken a gas, so he was either going to go for roaches or go for Zergling speed, or maybe even go for both. So just by seeing that, you should know, okay, throw down 4 cannons, help wall in, and then get my gases up, then get my cyber core up, all that kind of good stuff that you'd normally do, but only after you get your 4 cannons. Alright, well that's, is that, do you want to have a final word or any...
Not really, I was just trying to refine this process to find out what the exact number of cannons and what I need to really sort of get that, stop that rush going in. But I'm finding this is being fairly successful for me at the moment to actually get a bit of breathing space against Zerg.
Yeah, so thanks for watching this, guys, and I hope this gives you guys a bit more knowledge and a bit more
insight
confidence.
Into
yeah, a bit more insight, a bit more confidence, all that kind of good stuff that will help you improve your game and get to the point where you can start beating people who do these cheesy rush strategies.
Exactly right. This is Teddy Boy signing off.